Well, I'm John C. Creed. I'm a writer. This is our 12th YouTube video on the craft of writing and all things writing. And we've been promising to go to landscape architecture and environmentalism eventually. Well, that time has come. This is going to be my last post for a while on writing, and I'll probably give you all a few days off, and then I'll try to do the first video on my career of landscape architecture, what it means to me, where it's going in the future. It's come to my attention from my wife that the title of my last post, Publishing Horror Stories, is probably going to attract a lot of horror writers. I apologize for that. So I went back and put book in parentheses, book publishing horror stories. And this post is going to be called publish, book publishing horror stories too. It's the sequel. As bad as it was, there's more. I just think like I have to clear my soul and like I said, then we'll get on to happier subjects. Um, Nobody ever suggested that I adopt the nickname Lucky, and I don't believe in luck. I believe in hard work. I'm not gonna run around going, I could have been a contender. I hate those guys. But I will say what my Uncle George said. My uncle raised me. He said, "You have a funny kind of luck, Christopher. Unlucky it happened in the first place. Lucky it wasn't worse." That's pretty apropos. So we have a few notes we're going to. One of the things about my luck, if you want to call it, is lightning has struck twice on three separate occasions in my life. And here's what happened. I got busted for selling pot. Don't really feel I was doing much wrong when I was 21. And I got busted for growing and selling pot at 68. So at the beginning of my adult life and at the winding down of my adult life, the same event happened. Lightning struck twice. And um, as I was working as a landscape architect, I had two main clients, lots of work from them. Well, this guy, this architect comes in from Portland, Oregon, and he wants to make his bones. He wants to watch heads rolls, prove everybody how tough he is. He took direct aim at me. Started bitching, pissing, and moaning about my drawings, how they were incomplete. He didn't like them. He thought I should be doing more for the money. Well, we clashed, and I just stopped doing work for that client. Well, not to worry. I'll go to client number two and try to convince them to hire me for more projects. I walk in there 3 months later, and who I run into? This guy. They fired him at the place I was at because he was running everybody off. And now he's been hired over a year. So he must have had a hell of a resume because it certainly wasn't based on personality, but the same scenario. So there goes two clients in the course of 3 months. Like they struck twice. Yesterday, I told you the story of the book, you know, Our Environmental Awakening. And the publisher just letting go. Well, that's not the one. Luke, the legendary bloodhound, that languished for 18 months. Well, the story I got is the founder of the press just up and quit. And the two young people that were subordinates were reeling, and with what they were being put through, I don't know why they just didn't start their own press rather than trying to resurrect the press where somebody pulled the rug out from you, but they did. Anyways, the book was toast. I had to take it back. Well, there's two books here, Marijuana Tales and California Crazies, The Former Lives and Deaths of Outlaw Pot Farmers. Both these books were accepted prior to 2016 by a publisher. It was important to me because legalization was coming back on the ballot in California, and I wanted to get them out to the public. And let me say this about marijuana legalization. I always voted for it. As long as one kid was rotting in jail over a marijuana rap, I wanted pot legalized. And the growers up in the Emerald Triangle that were putting up billboards on the highway saying, don't legalize pot. Well, these guys, their entire life, they were saying, this was so unfair. It's so unfair until it threatened their profit motive. I consider them whores, one and all. Anyways, the books are supposedly in production, and the editor's assuring me that we're moving forward. And then in 2020, she's gone, and there's no more correspondence. She's disappeared. I can't get a hold of anybody. Well, the owner of the press got deathly ill. Finally, she contacts me and says, I've been deathly ill. I'm not really feeling real great now, but I'm ready to start on your books. Well, 6 months later, she contacted me and said, I just can't do it. Well, a lot of these presses that are supposedly not hybrid presses, but are not really conventional presses, they couch it as, well, you need to contribute $1,000 for production costs and guaranteed author copies, and it's just a small business in comparison to what we're going to do for it. So I'd pay $2,000. Well, I'm heartbroken. My books aren't coming out. I've lost the element of time. And, you know, so anyways, she dies. And I write, to the press, is anybody out there? Is anybody listening? I don't think this is fair. Her husband contacts me. Says, no, it's not fair. What do you want to do? I said, well, I'm sure she made some effort. And, she really did suffer horribly. It's not my fault. It wasn't her fault either. Out of the 2,000, I'll take 1,500. Well, he was a gentleman. He was a true man. He paid me the 1,500. But the point here is, this is the first time lightning struck, and I moved the legendary bloodhound. It struck twice. So lightning strikes twice in my life, and that's just the way it is. I do want to say about both cases with both books, the marijuana books, the legendary bloodhound, and also with Our Awakening, especially with Our Awakening. I was contacting these editors constantly, asking them questions. What can I do? And have I cited this the way you want it? And, how everything's going. And in all cases, don't worry about a thing. I'm a professional. The hubris was just bursting out of their chest. I'm a pro. I got this handled. Well, I'll tell you what, worry. Worry a lot. Whenever anybody kind of dismisses you, tells you they're the pro, you got nothing to worry about, that's when you have to start worrying. So that's my horror story in that regard. Um, I'm gonna leave it there. I think we've just about exhausted what I know, what little I know about writing and the business. I've pissed, I moaned, I've bitched, I've cried. Uh, I think I've given you the full gamut that I'm capable of giving you. So we're going to wrap up our writing series, except to say I got books coming out, and every time a book comes out, I'm going to come on here and hype them. You know, authors have to accept the fact that they're going to have to go and do some shameless self promotion. Betsy Lerner, brilliant writer, just admire the woman to no end. Her first foray in fiction was Shred Sisters. Wrote her a great review, and she thanked me for it. But it amazed me. It absolutely amazed me how somebody had worked for Simon Schuster as an editor, who was on the marquee at uh, Donald Carson Literary Agency, that has successful books in the past, that wildly successful books, worked as hard as she did to promote Shred Sisters. It just goes with the territory now. And with these books that I'm bringing out, it's different. It's hard to write every day and also edit every day. You have to wear two different hats. You have to have a different mindset. And yeah, I have to hone in. I have to focus. No matter how hard I try, there's always going to be that typo. There's always going to be that mistake. It drives me wild when the book's in print. And what I got coming out now are two well, they're more like collections of poetry interspersed with essays. One title is Songs of the Chaparral, dedicated to my best friend, and then Reconciliation with Remorse, dedicated to the grandson. The poems and the essays slanted towards the process of maturing, and I hope he takes it all in. Like I've said in the past, you dedicate a book to someone, they most likely appreciate it and are likely to read it. And then I got 5 books after that, 3 more poems and essay collections, uh, nonfiction with the life of a landscape architect. I'm tired of the art getting rejected. Um, One of the reasons it's rejected is it's a series of stories, and first one is a landscape architect's environmental poems. Well, agents, their heads just explode. You don't send us poetry. Oh my God, no poetry. The hell are you doing? And then, who the hell are you? We don't know. We've never heard of you. I said, I've been practicing landscape architect for 47 years. I'm not chopped liver. Well, it's the bitch goddess celebrity. And I understand it. This isn't a charity operation. They're in this to make money. So I constantly hear, you have no platform. Why didn't you build a platform? I don't even know how I would have done that. I was so damn busy eking out a living. So there's that. And I got a book, Life, Love, and Other Disappointments, that kind of delves into that. And the final one is Dysfunction and What We Do Best, about my friends and neighbors up here on the High Chaparral. And when they come out, I'll show you the covers, I'll give you the spiel. But besides that, we're moving on. We're going into landscape architecture. I'm going to have to put some thought into that. I think it's a noble profession. I think it's the profession that is my design profession that's most uniquely tied to the earth. I'm proud that I'm a landscape architect. I think we really have a place in the future, especially with climate change. So we'll go on to that. But I enjoyed doing these videos. I know the audio quality was poor and the video quality was much better, but I hope there was some information that you were able to use. And with that, the writer writes, hasta la vista, baby.